Chapter 7 War in the Northeast. The British did not want to give the colonies their freedom. They hired Hessian soldiers from Germany to fight the Patriots. The British had more men and supplies than the colonists, but the colonists were fighting for a cause that they believed in. They were also fighting in a land they knew well. Hessian soldiers were from a part of Germany called Hesse, and in August of 1776, Washington and his soldiers met the British on Long Island, in what is now Brooklyn, New York, and a battle began. The Patriots fought hard, but they were surrounded. A violent rainstorm began. Washington had to save his men. He asked nearby colonists to lend them their boats. In the fog, he loaded his men, horses, and cannons into the small boats. They crossed the East River to Manhattan. Then they marched north to safety. Because of this escape, the British called Washington the wily old fox. Crossing the Delaware. During the winter of 1776, the British and Hessians relaxed. They thought Washington's army was too weak to fight in the cold. They were in for a surprise. On a freezing Christmas Eve in 1776, Washington had a daring plan. He wanted to attack Hessian soldiers in Trenton, New Jersey. There were 1,500 Hessian soldiers. Washington ordered his men to cross the Delaware River. He watched as soldiers loaded into rowboats. Huge blocks of ice floated in the water. Rain and sleet pelted down. The tiny boats struggled through the water, and time after time they returned to pick up men and cannons. The Battle of Trenton. The men reached the New Jersey shore about 3 o'clock in the morning. They were wet and freezing. Their musket powder was damp. If wet powder is a problem, we shall use our bayonets, Washington said. The tired soldiers marched 9 miles to Trenton. Some walked with their shoes falling to pieces. Their bare feet made bloody prints in the snow. The Hessians had been celebrating Christmas. Many were sleeping. The attack was a complete surprise. The Americans swooped down on the sleeping Hessians. They captured over 1,000 men. It was a very, very big victory for the colonists. A victory at Saratoga. In the fall of 1777, the colonists fought British troops in Saratoga, New York. Generals Horatio Gates and Benedict Arnold led the Patriots. After a fierce battle, the British surrendered. Benedict Arnold. After the victory at Saratoga, other countries knew the colonists had a chance. The French sent ships and soldiers. Their aid gave the colonists courage to keep fighting. Benedict Arnold later became a traitor and joined the British. Molly Pitcher. Soldiers often needed help during battles, and women on the battlefield brought pitchers of cool water for the thirsty men. They also helped attend to the wounded. These women were often called Molly Pitcher. The women got their nickname from Mary Ludwig Hayes. Her nickname was Molly. Molly followed her husband into battle. She helped care for the soldiers. And in a battle at Monmouth, New Jersey, her husband came down with a heat stroke. He could not fire his cannon, so Molly stepped in to help him. General Washington called her Sergeant Molly. Molly died many years after the war, and to honor her, a flag, a cannon, and a monument were put by her grave.